Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron for the New Order with me, Alpha Pi Omega, and the Empire of Japan. So we're continuing with the internal struggles with no national focus, no political power, no nothing, just events, because we're trying to figure out how to get ourselves from this miasma of terrible decisions our politicians made. In the meantime, our units are now gonna march and take the rest of the Philippines and thus end the conflict over there. I'm really hoping that this is going to be good for us. Okay, so Germany was defeated in Puerto Plata invasion and in the second Malagasy uprising. And the United States actually won the victory in Puerto Plata. Defeated in the Malayan emergency and defeated in the second Malagasy uprising. And we have been defeated in we have a stalemate in second Malagasy uprising, victory in Malayan emergency, and stalemate in Hawaiian missile crisis. So, disgrace Ino's allies. A plain barren package wrapped in layers of brown paper and black plastic. Destination: Tokyo Shinbun offices. Takagi had decided that if the carrot did not work, the stick would have to do. Some deputies in the Diet still scoffed at his warnings, with the most infuriating ones refusing to return his calls. No matter, tomorrow the dominoes would fall. The Ino clique would no longer claim sole control over the Yokosankai, not after today. Tomorrow the editor of the Shimbun would wake to this package on his desk. There he should carefully open it, reviewing the financial records, phone calls, photographs, and other incriminating evidence against specific deputies. The whistle that he rang would sound upon miles and miles. In such a crowded political environment as Japan's, that could only mean, well, Takagi needed only to think about the label he would put on the package. He pursed his lips, picked up his fountain pen, and wrote, "For the preservation of public interests." Okay, so Ikeda's position is now threatened. Cool. We are scum, basically. I like that these guys are not only very effective, but they're okay, not this one then, but other than that, they're moving fairly fast usually. I might want to do something with that. I don't know, switching the elite infantry for APCs or something will probably not work, but oh well. Ikeda's dilemma. Ikeda Masanosuke is a man of few words, and he has even fewer to spare for fools. A career in journalism taught him the value of concise prose, and the Yokosankai, well, perhaps this is why the scene unfolding before him is so deeply discomforting on a personal level. After all, a man who suffers, not the foolish, is fundamentally disinclined to having his colleagues put on village idiot kabuki masks and dance around each other, howling all the while. What? Not that he has anything against kabuki dances, low-brow as they might be. Day and night the Diet churns with intrigue, as the sphere burns and its people plot. Is this how Ino saw his nation going as he handed in his resignation letter? He ponders the path ahead, clean and symmetrical, like the katakana classes he used to do in his youth. He never liked those classes. The world was easier to handle than the infinite fall of radical stroke. Some of those men in the Yokosankai were close to Ino, barely avoiding being dragged down with him. They might turn to Ikeda if he plays his cards right. A speech in the Diet persuading those who still believe in the old ways of things, of what the Chinese call wu-wei, to stand firm might just throw him into the spotlight and into a position where he can begin to fix things. On the other hand, Ino's clique has been badly compromised by the scandal. It might be better to start over, to form a new party entirely, and the reformists who are looking to Takagi have shown a somewhat conciliatory hand. Ikeda thinks for long days and longer nights, then he begins to act. The old wagon shall ride new roads, appeal to Ino's clique. Takagi and Ikeda will confront each other, shore up support. Fresh barrels, fresh sake appeals to the reformists. Ikeda and Kaya will confront each other. So Takagi's position is firm, Ikeda's position is threatened. Takagi and Ikeda. Okay, let's boost Takagi's position slightly more. Chaos at the 12th Kazakh Party Congress. Historically, Kazakhstan Party Congress has been little more than a rubber stamp for bureau policy. Instead, the 12th Party Congress saw chaos as an anti-party faction attempted to unseat the sitting First Secretary to no avail. Instead, the Party Congress saw First Secretary Kunev consolidate power within his own base. Yet to maintain his position and prevent his removal, Kunev appeared to have relied on the National Communists, a group which was isolated and sidelined during his predecessor's administration. Whatever follows for Kazakhstan, it is clear that it will be a marked departure from its Marxist... Okay, whatever follows for Kazakhstan, it is clear that it will be marked departure from its Marxist-Leninist path. I'm sorry guys, I know that I correct myself many times when reading, but there are typos and, weird things quite often in these texts, so I have to make sure that I'm reading it correctly. Okay, so the Philippines are crashing down. I think that once we take the capital, it's over. So this is 3, this is 5, this is 3. So the only one we don't have is this one. Okay, here we go. Second Philippines Republic unites the Philippines. In the violence of the Balivantag Blitz, the Second Philippines Republic has triumphed over the Free Philippines Republic. I die without seeing the dawn brighten over my native land. A bastard son proves his worth as the man in a baptism of fire. It is a tale as old as time, and now the Second Philippines Republic, once regarded as false pretender, kept alive by the almighty yen, adds another entry to the hallowed catalogue. Once close to national extinction, the men of Manila has held until the dreaded insurgents wore themselves out, after which commenced a brutal counteroffensive all in the way to their strongholds. Celebrating dragged on for days and nights after President Jose Yulo announced the surrender of the last major rebel holdout in Mindanao Island. The worst, it seems, for many is over. Although the pains of reconstruction await, the Filipino people can now face them with their heads held high no matter what. Order restored after 20 years. So the Second Philippines Republic, which is part of the co-prosperity sphere, led by Jose Yulo, is finished. Like most of the Kalipapi's upper echelon, Jose Yulo, I guess it's Yulo or something, has the peculiar distinction of having served under both the Commonwealth and the Republic. In this case, the bar top-notcher and lawyer by trade practiced a career of guiding Presidents Quezon and Walrus legislative agendas through court since 1935. Such a distinguished career informed his decision to retire in 1959, after which he planned to resume his old profession as a corporate lawyer. Said plans, like the rest of the Republic, were thrown awry when President Laurel died and the rebels declared all-out war later that November. Deadlock has consumed the National Assembly, while cities fell and battle lines inched closer to Manila. After weeks of contention between the Greater East Asia Ministry and the Kalipapi's predominant loyalist faction, Yulo became seen as an acceptable compromise, and so he was hastily sworn on Christmas Eve as the Second Republic's second, if temporary, president. Although the rebels have been stymied since his ascendancy, President Yulo has a long way yet before he can declare mission accomplished. Vast swaths of countries remain under rebel hands, no longer, and those the Republic does control face little better. But the 14th Army will take care of it in due time. We already did. For now, Yulo has preoccupied himself with abolishing the late president's less popular policies until he inevitably steps down. No national focus tree, but it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure we have gained, yep, Baventavak Blitz victory. Total victory. Okay, so there is a couple of ways this can happen. There is a defeat, victory, and a total victory, and total defeat. Okay, so United States suffered total defeat in the Baventavak Blitz and a total victory in the Port Potter. So what's our total? Well, we're better than the Gross-Germanisches Reich, so we are now second. Military, they're stronger, but economy, wow, their economy is just crashing. Jesus Christ. And in victories and faction, we are the same. What the hell is happening to them? And our economy, after all of this, is still stronger than the economy of the United States. I don't get it. What's happening in those nations? We're barely scraping by with huge issues here and there. Our GDP is literally falling every month, and we're still the strongest economy in the world. That's just crazy. Don't I should focus here, and we can, for once, actually increase the speed. Let me just see the Navy is finished. Okay, so you guys finished drilling. You guys also finished drilling, so it's you. And you have a unit here I saw that was not finished. Oh, it's the Yamato. Okay, so you can join that, and these 6 ships can also join that. We can take these 3 Soyokaze destroyers, and I'm actually going to create a new fleet for them. Oh, wait, no. God freaking damn it, like this. So we are going to be the 5th Kantai, but you're going to be comprising of just patrol boats basically around the Sea of Japan. We need someone who has a spotter would be good. Hold guard. Okay, so let's take you. A spotter in this case will be very good. Concealment expert. Sure, concealment expert is nice, and smokescreen specialist. I like that. Your goal is not going to be doing anything else but just patrol in these areas. That will be your playground. Shore up support. The representative's face is neon red as he takes the podium to invite his next speaker to the stage. It's a quiet club in downtown Tokyo, a solidly established institution on the floating world, and the remnants of the Yokusankai loyalists are gathered here to drink, talk shop, and forget about their political troubles. Not talking about something doesn't make it go away, of course, but to mention that would be in itself a faux pas, and so it is left untouched. Let me just make sure that you guys will drill, because it's bothering me that I forgot about that. This is Japanese politics. To artfully dodge questions when they are posed, to maintain respect for authority by remaining submissive to its abuses. Like all norms, it is widely adherent to, and that means it can be manipulated. Ikeda takes the stage and starts to speak. He calls on the audience to remember the days of Ino. Stability was messy and founded on complicity, but it was stable, and it was better than the present chaos. He outlines in some details his own plan. By working with the army, never collaborating or, God forbid, submitting, and consolidating the Diet, it might be possible to reweave a whole cloth from the disparate threads of the factions. And he pauses. Here his speech diverges, 2 separate threads unraveled from the same fabric. He can offer the usual generous concessions as a means of securing loyalty, but later Ikeda has dreamt bigger dreams than mere loyalty. He has drafted a plan for a true reform of the Japanese Diet's clique party system, one that will ensure the brokenness of the old system will never be repeated, but money shouts where principles whisper. Which tone shall it be? Okay, so money. This action may weaken Ikeda, and this action may weaken Takagi. Yeah, we want to weaken Ikeda as much as possible. So money, this action will weaken Ikeda. And unpleasant fighting. Yasuda Banking, Yasuda Fire Insurance, Yasuda Investments, Yasuda Innovation and Enterprises. The Yasuda Leviathan slouches like a beast over corporate Japan, and it leaves a long, oily shadow. The group's core property in downtown Tokyo is a swirling mess of endless hallways and bureaucrats, many belonging to other Big Four firms, whispered of as though they are foreign countries, and the government. And the halls are full of chatter this week, as the investigation has captured the minds of the company, just as it has captured their news presses. Asato Kokei is a recent arrival fresh from the university, and he believes he stumbled onto something big. Very big indeed. Errors have begun to proliferate on the balance sheet of Yasuda Bank, which is worrying, especially since he's in the junior role of the bank's accounting division. But what is more perplexing still are the sources of the errors, a series of large anonymous numbers attributable to Minnesota Group. The company has been all over the press recently, and for the wrong reason. And yet no one will tell him why the company under investigation has paid sums of money to Yasuda, and for no discernible reason at all. Today he scheduled a meeting with his boss in the hopes of arranging some assistance and perhaps netting a promotion out of the matter. After all, it's a matter of profit, and profit is Yasuda's bread and butter. The boss even takes time out of his schedule to meet him personally, which is rare. The reason the boss is so willing to meet him becomes clear when the boss slips him an envelope with an apologetic look the same evening. It reads, "Fired for improper levels of enthusiasm." Okay, well, I don't know what's cooking, but this is also not looking good. Iberia announces the creation of the Iberian Council. With a nation formed under such circumstances and whilst maintaining an authoritarian culture as Iberia did, it should come as no surprise that ruling in an effective way would be hard. The Iberian caudillos have hence announced that to support their effort to stabilize and further unite their new union, they would establish an advisory council of state officials whose sole job it shall be to advise to matters of state. Yep, the Iberian Council. The direct influence on policy should be negligible, yet in reality analysts have predicted that the council could be used by either caudillo to gain an upper hand on any political disagreement between the two. Consequently, it's been deemed that the council may act counterintuitively in further dividing the two nations instead of uniting them. Further coverage will likely shine a light on the effectiveness of their new Iberian reform. A useless organization. I was really sure that by now Hitler would be already dead. It's kind of interesting to see that he is still... Maybe they changed it. How does one begin to define Adolf Hitler? Volunteer forces have returned. Okay, so this is our sphere. This is the sphere of Germany. And this is the sphere of the United States. Interesting. And we got more production units. And out of September, huh? How's the equipment situation looking? Because I think we might want to... Okay, we're missing one heavy self-propelled artillery. A lot of fighters. A ton of strategic bombers and a ton of interceptors. So I'm feeling we might want to change the production a bit in this regard. We have a ton of... Actually, no, we don't. We have a type of motorized equipment. So I could take some in from there. A little bit of APCs and tanks. And a lot of guided missiles. Can I actually convert... No, we don't want to do that. But we already have only a couple on tanks and motor. Yeah, there really isn't... Yeah, we just don't have enough factories to boost the production at this point. Never mind. Bribes and threats. Carrots and sticks, in the way the Yokosankai has always done things. Whisper sweet nothings into one ear and pull the other. So it is with the Inokweek, now staunch Ikeda supporters and with ties to the establishment in their speeches and their checkbooks. The old way has always proved more persuasive than the alternative. And when persuasion fails, well, this attitude does not translate so well to the rest of the Diet, whom the Ikeda-Queek quickly sets out to recruit by means of what can only be described as throwing their financial weight around. It can't be corruption if it's necessary for the preservation of the nation after all. It turns out the Diet has little patience for the yes-men who watched their leader tie the government to the hated Army-Navy complex, and over the next month, 237 letters are received by various members associating themselves with the Ikeda's agenda, comparing them to traitors, militarists, and Western double agents. Kaya and Takagi even take a breather from their internecine strife to present a united front against Ikeda's antics. He's still threatened. Ikeda's antics. Where is it? Representatives from both cliques lambast the Ino worshippers, as they are coming to be known, as favors who delude themselves into thinking the old methods are somehow going to save Japan by repeating its mistakes. Ikeda's men are angry. The old guard Inoites see opportunity, and the tongues of flame begin to lick at Ikeda's bid for power before it has even begun. Yep, he's threatened still. So what's going on in here? The central part of Russia is still completely broken, but the Siberian Black Army is growing. Amur is still fighting Magadan, so nothing is happening there. Tomsk is fighting Novosibirsk. And what kind of war is happening here? Is there like a... what? There's a fight going on in Sverdlovsk, but... Ural Military District. I guess they have some kind of uprising or something going on there? Not sure. Minus 191 political power. Oh, that's so sad. And it's October and our economy has slumped even more. Year of profits now only 0.71 billion. So we're still repaying a little bit, but... Ikeda's position will be weakened. Nice. Power invites jealousy. Jealousy invites scheming. Scheming invites struggle. Ikeda must contend with the rest of the establishment he's attempting to co-opt. Okay, we lost more production units. Let's make sure it doesn't hit our military. But his rivals in the Inoitesk Old Guard have other plans for him. A plan is drafted in the dead of night, and a host of accusations against Ikeda is leveled. That his ties to the Japanese army and navy cultivated over connections through the Inoites are no coincidence. That he is really just a mouthpiece for a new form of military control leveled over a helpless diet and country. That he intends to purge the Kaya and Takagi cliques from power dominating the YSK. For if the old order was purged through fear and rumors and scandals, surely it intends to restore by force what has been lost? The speech is given first thing in the morning, and an already chill atmosphere in the Diet quickly turns fiery. The speech does not go down well, to say the least. Inoites accuse their peers and each other of betrayal. The Kaya and Takagi cliques have taken pot shots at each other, and chaos reigns within the tight confines of the Diet reserved power structures. Representatives turns against representatives, as a particularly violent session of criticism of the Ino regime turns into an irregular fistfight between politicians. The nation's cameras and press capture the image of a helpless Ikeda watching his clique turn into a glorified Yakuza chapter, and Ikeda watches his dreams of restoring some sense of order to Japanese politics burn to the ground. The situation has developed, and not necessary to our advantage. So, yep, he is still threatened. Assassination of Jose Yulo. Oh no! That's the president we just spoke about. Yeah, he was assassinated. It happened so fast that the crowds rippled with screaming before anyone mad could process the warm crimson truth. 1 moment ago, Manila was festive incarnate. Wafting stalls crowded streets from end to end. Bands drummed and blew triumphant tunes by the glimmering Pasig. Fireworks gave spectacles hours before their due, so infectious was the city's mood that even the inanimate were made to move with a spirited gait. Maidens met their princes, children laughed and trotted, and elderly watched the follies of youth with stalwart yet warm complexions. Years preparing for war had fostered restraint among Manila's citizens. With war's spectre banished for good, the energies restrained held bay had cast it aside and engulfed the city by storm. And at its eye stood the Republic's beloved saber. Gone was the recalcitrant old relic of the late Royalist ministry. At its place emerged an equal who had snatched victory from the twin jaws of communism and imperialism. Millions held firm to the wizened housemanship and were rewarded the lasting peace their fathers sought, and so they cheered his name from the rooftops and windows along too many events along where were we? Millions held firm from the rooftops and windows along the 19th de Junio, whereupon the Mitsubishi motorcade ambled at a leisure pace. Better than for the president's adoring legions that he had eschewed a roof, reach close enough and one may even catch a glimpse of his fiery gaze. Then thunder clapped beneath the cloudless daylit sky. An instant later the fire was gone. Its cauldron shattered into stains of red and grey against the asphalt. As sirens and shouting reverberated through the city, as truth dawned on the millions who denied what their eyes had seen, newscasters hours later made fact out of truth and announced somberly, "We regret to inform you that the President Yulo has passed away." The National Assembly becomes the leader. Cauldron shattered. Well, he was killed. Politics will change. Public election will not be held. So who's ruling the Philippines now after the assassination? Orthodox despotism, interim government, no election. National Assembly. Article 3 of the post-war Constitution of 1947 established that the Republic of the Philippines is a democratic republic governed by a unicameral legislature known as the National Assembly. Every 4 years, citizens from 46 provinces and 8 chartered cities elect 2 assemblymen registered with the Kapinsan in Badong Paglingkot as Bagong Filipinas, the country's sole legal party. The Constitution further granted the 108-man Assembly the power to appoint a president among their ranks, who will serve until either recalled by a no-confidence vote or deceased. Kind of interesting that they have an even amount of people in the parliament. Usually, you want to have it in a way that it's, odd. But okay, I mean, whatever. Speaker Benigno S. Aquino hence presided over an extraordinary session of the National Assembly following President Yulo's ultimate assassination. As constabularies searched high and low for his killer, assemblymen convened within session halls to choose his replacement. Hopes for a speedy resolution were dashed by the Constitution itself. While it delegated appointments to the Assembly, none of its articles prescribed any schedule of or procedure thereof, and with the spectre of insurrection having fled seemingly for good, the old fissures it had suppressed resurfaced as negotiations stumbled along listlessly. So it should come as no surprise that Kalipapi unraveled like a ball of yarn, not 1 week after bullet holes riddled Yulo's corpse. First Fists were raised and insults flung as factions settled old scores. Loyalists and reformists and securocrats, patriots and traitors, Filipinos and foreigners, men of one label and men of another. Government has effectively halted with its members so preoccupied, and inside sources say they might remain so for the rest of the year. Everything is so grim in this game. It's so sad. Rojas deposed. Colombia has suffered from ongoing instability since General Rojas Pinilla seized power last year. His regime has been constantly challenged by a series of crippling strikes and demonstrations organized by the exiled National Front of Venezuela, and it seems that finally, after a large general strike, Pinilla has been forced out, having to take refuge in Mexico as the Liberal Conservative Alliance returns to Colombia and forms an interim government. The new government has announced that elections have been scheduled to take place within the next following months, with the Liberal and Conservative parties being the real contenders. As for New Granada and the Colombian Revolutionary Union, they are reported to be wary of the new government. What this means for Colombia is not yet known. Democracy may have been returned to Colombia, but is it enough to prevent a civil war? So wait, is Colombia... I think what we've seen here... Yep, there is an uprising. So you are communists and you are part... No. So wait, who was supported? Because when I checked, USA had... Oh, it was that they have very bad relations with them. Okay, not that they are part of the sphere, but they have very bad relations with Republic of Colombia. Regional government. I wonder why. Usually there's a historical reason for that. Well, okay, let's end this episode by reading Kaya's plot. The disgrace of former Prime Minister Kido could have spelled the end of the Technocrats faction, but the goal of strengthening Japan's civilian government remained a tantalizing one. The Technocrats' search for a new leader was Kaya Okinori's big break. A bureaucrat with army connections, Kaya's strength both within the Diet and through the Japanese government has made him one of the only serious contenders for true power. A few political observers are shocked by the about-face of the Japanese army concerning the Technocrat clique. But since the 50s, the army situation in the sphere has continually been degrading. With pandemonium breaking out through East Asia and the downfall of the Ino government, the army has found itself shopping for new allies. In Kaya Okinori, the military brass has found a very willing partner. Okay, well, so he's in bed with the military too. The bureaucrats' need to bypass the Diet has resulted in him making very nice concessions to army interests. He is thus now seen as a favorable alternative to the army-beloved conservatives. Now Kaya puts against the conservative faction and the resurgent reformist bloc. Both factions detest the Technocrats' program, and so they must be crushed if Kaya's program is to go forward. Using friends within the Diet and without, Kaya is on the verge of declaring open warfare against his enemies. Well, okay, we'll deal with that in the next episode. I'm actually thinking I will make this a vote. Because, I don't want the conservatives, but I'm really torn between the Technocrats and the reformists. Because, well, the Technocrats are obviously in bed with the army. The reformists are in bed with the Navy. So, I guess that's all that I need to say. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you in the next episode.